10 team. Let's ride.
It feels like it's the middle of August with all of this news, with all these driver lineups being announced, all the silly season. I'm mind blown. But getting to the point here, some news that is not really shocking at all because it's been rumored for months. Noah Gregson is officially the driver of the Stewart-Haas Racing Cup Series number 10 car. Now this once again has been rumored for months. Eric Almirola decided to leave Stewart-Haas Racing, opted to retire from full-time racing, step away from full-time racing, whatever he wanted to say about it. He's actually now in the Xfinity Series part-time at Joe Gibbs Racing. We talked about that this morning. Well, his replacement has been announced as Noah Gregson. Gregson, once again, has been linked to this ride for months, and now it's official. Gregson, he previously was at Legacy Motor Club. He was in his rookie year from February up until August, I believe, and then Gregson was suspended for liking a meme on social media, and then after that, his suspension was, I think it was indefinite, or maybe 2 races, whatever it was, and then they opted to part ways. I think the statement said that Gregson made the decision to step away. I don't know if it was mutual. I don't know the behind the scenes, but the statement said that I think Gregson decided to leave the team, leaving the 42 vacant for the rest of the year, and we saw a rotation of drivers in that 42 car. Now, as for Gregson himself, I believe he's done some short track racing, and that's about it. He has not raced anything in NASCAR since August, and now this is his opportunity to get back in NASCAR. Now, the rookie season was not anything spectacular, but he is still just less than 2 years, or about 2 years off of an Xfinity Series season in which he saw 8 wins and almost won a championship. Before we start talking about Noah Gregson's talent, all that stuff, is he the right fit for this car? Let's actually look at the statement first. Let's look at the official wording because there's something interesting in here. Stewart-Haas Racing has signed driver Noah Gregson to a multi-year agreement that will see the 25-year-old Las Vegas native pilot the team's number 10 Ford Mustang in the NASCAR Cup Series beginning in 2024. So then it talks a little bit about what Noah Gregson has done in his career, and then we get some quotes from the owners. Noah deserves to be in the NASCAR Cup Series, and we're very happy to have him as the driver of our number 10 Ford Mustang, said Tony Stewart, the NASCAR Hall of Famer who co-owns Stewart-Haas Racing with Haas Automation founder Gene Haas. Noah has performed at every level where he's competed and has regularly been in championship contention. That's the kind of driver we need at Stewart-Haas, and that's why Noah is a part of our team. I'm grateful for this opportunity with Stewart-Haas Racing, and while most people in the industry are happy that the offseason is here, I want to get started on 2024 and go racing as soon as I can, Gregson said. Stewart-Haas is filled with racers, and I saw that and felt it as soon as I walked onto the shop floor. There are high expectations here and a strong desire to compete and win races. I have high expectations for myself, and I want to deliver for Tony and Gene and everyone at Stewart-Haas. The crew chief will be Drew Blinkensderfer in 2024. Sponsorship has yet to be announced, so nothing there yet. We will figure that out as time goes, obviously. But there's a few different angles we can take this at. So let's start out with angle number 1, the Tony Stewart angle. Back when Stewart-Haas Racing signed Josh Berry in May is when they made it official, and they were doing their introductory press conference. You know, they had Tony Stewart up there, Josh Berry, Rodney Childers, Kevin Harvick. They had that group up there, and they were asking him, you know, what's the funding situation like? You know, NASCAR, everyone loves it, and, you know, you want to get a really talented driver in the car, yes, but the fact of the matter is that funding is what makes this thing go round. So they asked him about that, and Tony Stewart made a pretty clear statement that was not really beating around the bush. He said, I don't want a pay driver to come in here and pay me money for my car. I want someone who can wheel it, basically is what he said. That's not the exact quote, but that's the moral of the story. So, with that being said, is that Tony Stewart has, I would say he's lived up to his word on that. Now, look, we can go back and look at every single driver in Stewart-Haas's history, and we can put them in the 2 categories, racer, pay driver, you know? We're not going to do that, but the fact of the matter is Stewart-Haas Racing currently is in a bad position. I guess we could say. They are currently on the down right now. Stewart-Haas Racing used to be a championship level organization. They constantly were competing for championships. They won a championship, 2 championships actually, with Kevin Harvick in 2014 and Tony Stewart in 2011. They've made multiple championship fours with Harvick. They've won countless races with a number of drivers, Kurt Busch, Eric Almirola, Clint Boyer, Cole Custer even won a race. But the last 3 years alone, to say they've been difficult for Stewart-Haas Racing would be an understatement. Harvick has 2 wins in that time period, and I think the rest of the team has maybe 2, I think. I think they went winless as an organization last year. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate. 2022, Harvick had 2 wins. Briscoe had a win. In 2021, Eric Almirola was their only winner. So yeah, I think I was right there. 4 combined wins, half of them from Kevin Harvick. It's been a struggle for Stewart-Haas Racing. This team used to be one of the top dogs in NASCAR, as I said, with the championships and making championship fours. But the last 3 years have been a struggle. They just lost their best driver. Kevin Harvick's retiring. He is no longer going to run NASCAR races. He's going to be in the booth on Sundays for the Fox portion of the season. That's a big hit for them. That is going to hurt. And now you look at their driver lineup, and the 4 car is Josh Berry. Yeah, I think he's about 32, 33. So age-wise, he's pretty mature, but he doesn't have that much Cup Series experience. He did some substitution driving for Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman, and even filled in for Noah Gregson in the 42 car for a couple of weeks, but not a lot of Cup experience. Next up, the 14 car, Chase Briscoe. Yeah, Chase Briscoe has a few years of Cup experience now, but he is still a pretty young driver, and he is still learning his way. 1 career win back at Phoenix in 2022. And then you go to the 41 car, and Preece, I think, has the most Cup experience out of these guys, but he's never been in a top ride. He was with JTG Doherty for a few years, and now he's going to be on year 2 of Stewart-Haas Racing. And now you got your newest driver, Noah Gregson. Gregson does not even have a full year of Cup Series experience. This is a full-blown rebuild for Stewart-Haas Racing. So to put in NFL terms, there's no draft, so they can't necessarily tank, but they've drafted young players, like a young quarterback, young receivers, young running back, because their team, there's going to be growing pains in this rebuild. You're not going to be winning championships right off the bat, but you got to move forward. You got to do something, even if it means a couple of years, a few years of pain and suffering and being bad or being not to your expectation. You're going to have to go through those pains, because Stewart-Haas Racing the last 3 years has not been up to the Stewart-Haas standard from when they were founded in 2000-something, 2008, 9, whatever year it was, up to 2020. That was the Stewart-Haas standard. Multiple wins, competing for championships. That is their standard. These last 3 years have not been to their standard. They have not been winning races as much as they should be. They have not been championship caliber. They are looking to get back to that, and having 4 young drivers is their chance to do that. And they have also, they've missed on a couple free agents. But we won't talk about that. Back to Noah Gregson. Was this the right choice? It's an interesting question, because if you go back to 2 years ago, Noah Gregson was one of the hottest, young prospects out there to be taken for the Cup Series teams. As I said, he had 8 wins in Xfinity in 2021. He was a championship caliber driver, finished second to Ty Gibbs in the championship that year. He's won 13 races in his Xfinity Series career, and each year he seemed to be getting better. And then he got to the Cup Series, and getting to the Cup Series, it's a different game. And no, he was not in a great car. He was not at Hendrick. He was not at Joe Gibbs Racing. Heck, he was not even at his current team, Stewart-Haas Racing. He was at Legacy Motor Club. And Legacy Motor Club, speaking of growing pains, they had some of their own at the beginning of the season. You have a new team owner in Jimmy Johnson. You announced early on in the season that you're leaving your current manufacturer for a new manufacturer, and they were struggling in performance. Gregson was struggling. Eric Jones, the veteran on the team who had an outstanding 2022, he was struggling. And it was a rough year for the first portion of the year for Petty GMS. Legacy Motor Club, I do that so many times. Sorry to all the people at Legacy Motor Club. I keep on getting your name wrong. But we saw the team get a little bit better. We saw near the end of the year, both cars were actually running pretty well. With Hocevar in the car, Eric Jones was running in the top 10 a lot. But the portion that Gregson was there, he had his struggles, yes, but you would expect that out of a rookie. He is learning. He's trying to get to grips with the car. And also, he's trying to learn about the Cup Series field and all of that stuff. And also, not all of it was his fault. He got injured this year. Remember, he had a concussion. He missed a race at Sonoma because the brake rotor blew out at Gateway. That brake rotor blowing out, that's not his fault. So while Gregson did struggle in the 42 car, it was not all of his fault. He's a rookie. He's learning. I think this is a good signing for Stewart-Haas Racing. So all that being said, I do believe that this is a good signing for Stewart-Haas Racing. Look, they've missed out on their share of free agents over the years. They missed out on Kyle Larson, and that one, if I was Tony Stewart, I would be losing a lot of sleep over that one. I know that one was not Tony Stewart's fault directly. Ford got involved, and they said, no, we're not signing Larson. They missed out on Kyle Busch. Once again, realistically, I don't know how close they were to getting Kyle Busch, but he was on the reports of where Kyle Busch was talking to, looking at, whatever. And they missed out on Kyle Busch. And that's tough. It's a two-time champion, Hall of Famer. You miss out on him, but now you've missed out on two huge free agents. Now, look, Noah Gregson, I'm not saying that he is a Kyle Busch or Kyle Larson. Look, the numbers will tell you he is not there yet, but also he is young. He has got a lot of talent. He has shown it before. Once again, I'm not comparing him to Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson. That is way too early on to say. But from the standpoint of getting a driver, the Tony Stewart perspective we just talked about, who is talented, who is not just a paid driver, I think Noah Gregson can be one of those guys. He has shown it before. We have seen him at the peak of his ability so far, and he's been able to win races, compete for championships at the lower level, and that is the goal for Stewart-Haas Racing with him. Now, no, he's not going to win a championship this year. It may not even be within the first 3 or 4 years, but they've got him on a multi-year agreement, and that's another big deal. Gregson is guaranteed security. It's not like a 1+1 kind of thing with a team option. And that, I think, is good for a driver's confidence to kind of know that not every race you're being judged. Like, you can make a mistake. Things can happen. So he doesn't have to, blow the world away in this first year. So, yeah, in terms of Stewart-Haas Racing, we've talked about them a lot this year. I feel like in their downfall, is that the right word? I mean, they're not like crumbling, but, they have fallen down from championship glory, championship contention glory. And they're in a rebuild. They are in a hard rebuild. We've seen this with some teams. We saw it with Hendrick Motorsports 5 years ago. 5 years ago, Hendrick Motorsports, 6 years ago maybe, they were struggling to get wins outside of Jimmy Johnson. And now look at them. They've got 2 Cup Series champions in their reigns. They have one guy who almost won the championship last year, had the most wins last year. And their 4th guy, he's won a few races. So if Stewart-Haas Racing does this right, like Hendrick Motorsports, they could be in that position, yes, but also, there's a lot of possibilities. Now, as for the whole sponsorship thing, I don't know what's going to happen there. Obviously, Gregson had a good chunk of sponsorship in the Xfinity Series. We saw Wendy's on his car in the Cup Series. We saw Sunseeker Resort. I think that's the Legacy Motor Club thing. I don't know what the sponsorship situation is for Gregson. I don't know how much of his incident, his social media liking post thing is going to hurt his sponsorship chances, but I believe they'll be just fine if necessary. I think Ford, they're on board with signing him. They may sponsor the car if they need to. Gene Haas with Haas Automation, they may sponsor him if they have to, but the future of Stewart-Haas Racing is still a little bit fuzzy in terms of the results, but I do believe that they are making some moves to try to make a step forward, or at least just step evenly, just step to the side versus stepping down, going backwards. Stewart-Haas Racing, it's been a struggle. The 10 car is now confirmed. Noah Gregson will be in it. How will he do this next year? I don't know. I would say this is another rookie year, basically. He didn't get a full rookie year in the 42. It's basically going to be another rookie year, but Noah Gregson officially in the 10 car. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. It's a big opportunity for Gregson. I know that Stewart-Haas Racing has not been what they have been earlier in the 2010s, but they are still capable of building race-winning cars, of potential championship-winning cars, and I think that in the long term, this could play out for both sides, so I do believe it's a good signing. Gregson does have the talent, but we'll see how he does talent-wise in the future, how he develops as a driver. I meant to talk about this earlier. I kept on thinking as I was making this, what am I forgetting to mention? The dude has a lot of character. Like, you're going to be able to promote him, use him in your marketing team a lot because Gregson, we've seen some of his interviews. Fun guy. So that'll be interesting to see what the Stewart-Haas Racing marketing program does. So thanks for watching this video again. We've had a lot of NASCAR news over the past few days. So we'll see if any more happens. This was one of the off-season stories I was anticipating, and now here it is. And that means, I guess, 1-2 more Cup Series cars to go, the 16 in Cup and the Rick Ware Racing second car. I don't know what's going to happen with him. So thanks for watching again. Let me know how you think Noah Gregson will do in his first year with Stewart-Haas Racing, and I will see you guys in the next video.